All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Willington School Building Committee to order. It is August 10th, 2026, 7:03 p.m. Members present are Ann Ruscon, myself, Dan Marshall, Peter Bacon, Adam Brewer, Stevens, Adam Zalanis, John Than, and who we have online?
No regular, so Lisa is on my issue now.
Yep, hi. I'm here.
We have Michelle Rego, and I thought I saw Mike Chinchilla as well. Yeah. And Mike Chinchilla. Beautiful. So, 1, 2, 3, 5. I think we can see Michelle.
I'm sorry?
Michelle, sorry, we have two, actually. We need two alternates. We have, who we missing? Jeremy Brother. And Lisa, is Lisa Eaton online?
I did not see.
All right, then I'll make a motion to seat John Than for Lisa Eaton.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then I'll move to seat Michelle Rego for Jeremy Brothers.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ann. One more time, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, John. Michelle, you're both seated for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up on the agenda is community forum, question and answer. Public participation is encouraged. Speakers are encouraged to utilize this opportunity for dialogue with the committee constructively. Will be limited by appropriateness, staying on topic, and maintaining decorum. We're battling time to a maximum of 30 minutes to allow us to conduct our business. But I'll start on the room. If anybody has any comments, questions?
So,
Certainly.
Hi.
If you could just identify yourself, please.
Liliana Borelli, Jarvis Parks Road.
Thank
So
you.
I have ideas. So the following are the reasons why I believe the SBC, the town, and the school administrators are being disingenuous, financially irresponsible, and are completely overreaching in the effort to build a new school for 520 kids, when we actually have 370 now. And it's going to cost over $100 million, albeit that we're getting 93 to 95% reimbursement from the state. We need a $27 million bond to cover the balance that the state doesn't cover. How is this going to impact our property taxes going forward and the maintenance of this massive building that's far beyond the scope of what the town actually needs? Building a facility designed for 520 students when current enrollment is only 370 creates a 40% buffer. While state space waivers dictate certain baseline sizes, critics argue the town is paying to build, heat, cool, and maintain empty square footage. Approaching $100 million total threshold drives up soft costs such as site work, furniture, engineering, and architectural fees, and many other things that are not covered by the reimbursement. That the state's flat per square foot reimbursement guidelines often excludes or puts a cap on. So this might hurt some people's feelings, but we're all adults. Public distrust stems from previous SBC projects where executive decisions were made during executive sessions by some of the same people who are involved in this present project. Not all, but some are. Where it involved purchasing land from family members of town officials. This has created the perception of dishonesty, self-interest, and a process lacking objective community alignment. You can argue that the approach and marketing process is being handled differently, and I agree. It's more professional. However, the full financial impact of this project is not being fully disclosed, and they are strategically misrepresenting the catastrophic, and I underline catastrophic, financial burden to the taxpayers. A $27 million bond will require significant annual debt service, principal plus interest over 20 to 30 years for a small grand list like Willington's. This annual payment will force a multi-point increase in the mill rate. which I've seen the numbers, and it will be in the high thirties, low forties. So 40 point something mill rate per year. That will probably be 16 to 1,800 a year increase.
I will
Okay.
say, not to cut you off, but I will say, I'm sorry, I don't know what numbers you're quoting, but the bond amount is $9 million. There's nothing to do with bonding $27 million. That isn't the information that's out
Is
there.
that the,
It's important to.
that's
correct
not,
that to you.
I have the paperwork that I got
It's
from
it's
Phil.
very true. It's
Okay.
$9 million. And
Okay,
it's important to get that out there because
Yeah.
saying.
so it's not
numbers are
27 million.
different. It's not 27 million. The
Okay.
bonded amount is, gonna go down actually, but it's 9.5, 9.6 minus,
So this is not,
the capital reserve savings we're spending as well. No, that's
okay, so
that's
let me
entirely
continue
fair.
and then we can
I'm happy
discuss
to walk
the
you through
numbers.
it at a later date.
Okay, so a 27 million or 9 million, that you say now, will require significant annual debt service, principal plus interest over 20 to 30 years for a small grand list like Willington's. This annual payment will force a multi-point increase in the mill rate, and this does not include the 5 future property tax assessments that are coming
It's also-
during this time period. It's incorrect?
It's also,
How is that incorrect?
it's incorrect.
So how many tax, don't we get tax assessed every 4 years?
Every 5
Every
years.
five.
Every 5? Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
what's
fine.
the difference? What's
What does
incorrect?
that have to do with?
504?
That has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Yes, it has everything to
No,
do
it
with it
doesn't.
because
No,
the tax assessment will also increase our property taxes, right? Or is that, am I wrong about that?
Not
I
necessarily.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
The house values haven't gone down.
They could though.
Oh, okay, wait, no.
Well, I do want to get to that. before- so I'll ask you-
So once capital reserves are exhausted, this bond that hits taxpayers at a time when General Willington when the Board of Education operating budgets already are facing multi-year frictions with town residents, staff, they're facing staff cuts and repeated referendum failures due to affordability limits and taxpayer concerns. Well, I agree.
I am gonna have to ask you to wrap up because it's been.
Well, you said I have 30 minutes. I want
Yeah, 30 minutes, everybody.
I just care. I just care. I need to move on.
finish. I want to
Thank
finish.
you.
So can you give me another couple
I
of
can give you
minutes?
another 30 seconds.
No, that's not fair.
Well,
Because-
I'm sorry, dear.
well-
I have to move on to other people in the room. There are plenty of other people in this room tonight.
You submitted in
Please
writing.
finish up. You're welcome. to submit it.
But-
Yeah, please send that along to the committee in writing. If you have it written down, or you're reading
Email.
something, please send it.
Email it to-
We'll
Well,
make sure that we have it all.
I
okay,
think it's an important conversation with September
This-
2nd.
this, what you're planning to do, build a humongous school for 370 kids. Is going to be catastrophic to the taxpayers.
Correct.
And you will, I'm incorrect?
That's
Yes, you are.
incorrect. It's not catastrophic to the taxpayers. You think we're here to make our taxes higher?
Well, maybe you're not very savvy
I'm gonna put a
with
stop.
numbers.
I'm gonna put a stop to this. We're not gonna have any more back and forth, guys, because it's not gonna get
So,
anywhere.
we'll get
Thank
into
you.
this.
Thank you for your
So,
opinion.
So this is incorrect. This was.
That is correct. You are unfortunately interpreting it wrong, but I am happy to
am?
walk that through with you.
So we won't have to pay $2 million in 2030
That is correct.
and 2030.
Yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
so this is all
That's-
made up.
No, you're
So like I said, you're
misinterpreting.
just interpreting it
Okay.
wrong. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I'm
I
very smart.
apologize, Matt, but, thank you very much for your comments. If you have any further comments, please send them. But I will just say, we are not bonding $27 million. The project, the debt servicing would be for $9 million. And it is not projected to have a mill rate increase anywhere near that. We're actually projecting after offsets and operational savings for this, as has been stated numerous times, to be a cost savings to the town and a budget reduction. And I'm sorry.
You didn't let me finish what I had to say.
I am perfectly happy
So
to
this
talk
is-
with you.
This is the normal thing.
That is, and no,
If anybody else wants to talk, they're more than welcome, but you should let me finish.
So you have had a disproportionate amount of time. I would like to get.
Because I have a lot to say.
And that's wonderful. And I'm welcome to have that conversation and you're welcome to submit those additional comments to us, but I would like to move on in the room. So I'm going to do that. Is there anybody else that would like to say something in the room? Steph, I'm going to go to you.
Steph Summers, Y Road. I just, well, first of all, I want to say that I was at the Tuesday session at Hall School, and took the tour and talked to people and saw the handouts. I just thought it was, very professionally handled, and it made the tour, which I haven't seen Hall School in a while, but I have seen it before over the years. And it made it clear to me that the school's been very well maintained for its age, especially. I was concerned about the tiny windows that are up against the junction between the ceiling and the wall in a few rooms that are so small that I was kind of wondering about the circulation. And I think that's a real issue right now. And then of course the 16 floor levels that are easily apparent if you walk it. And you can see how that's not in any way ADA easy, maybe compliant because of retrofitting. But it's anyway. I just thought it was very well done. I do want to clarify that we will have a reappraisal in 4 years, only because this last one was delayed for a year. You don't get to start, the state doesn't let you go, oh, yes, you can have a year because of COVID. So we'll give you an extra year for your appraisal process, and then say, oh, now you can count 5 years from there. You have to make up that extra year. So the next one will be in 4 years, and then we'll be trued up there every 5 years average. So you can't skip a year just because,
All the more reason to capitalize.
into perpetuity, right? And then I just want to say that financially, when I look at this, the big thing to me and the gift that we keep on giving is it has huge impact on economies of scale in the operating budgets, which is what is driving the tax increases today and has in the last few years. Certainly this budget year, where it took us 4 referenda to pass a budget. So to me, that's a huge thing. The newer technologies, the greener technologies, starting with a new building that does not require hundreds of thousands, millions actually, to just maintain it, is going to lighten an impact on an operating budget.
Final thoughts, Steph.
Oh, sorry. Did I go too far?
No, you just did.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. I really think that's fine. I just want to say that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.
Joan Tarasco, it's 15 Liska Road.
Hi, Joan.
Just to add a piece, and this goes probably to the Board of Finance, the library bond is almost up. And so,
Right.
I don't even remember what that was, but we are finishing something. So there will be that extra money to help with that $9 million bond, et cetera.
Right, yeah, the town is retiring. It was $156,000, I think, on last year. For the bond for the library, it's the final year of that payment. So they'll retire, and that's $156,000 of operating money that gets freed up.
Yes.
Thank you. Good comment. Anybody else in the room? Yes, sir.
Elaine Newcomb, Vermeer Road. I was at the thing yesterday, which was interesting. I'll be very brief here, okay? I found the schedule very jarring. I got this and it was like, holy crap. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that, but this is looking, we have been around this block numerous times, and I've been in on the ground floor every time. I find the schedule to be jarring, and particularly at this time of year, the compressed schedule, from the time of the meeting or the visits, the 4th and the 9th, to rush to a decision, a selection on tonight's agenda is very fast. If anybody was on vacation for a week, I'd missed this whole thing. I think there's gonna be a lot of shock value, when the town's back at full strength. And I think the conversation should have preceded this community poll that was done. which covers we'll find out tonight, what percentage of the voting public that is affecting. And on that basis, I don't really see how one would be comfortable making a decision of based on supposedly the community feeling when it's such a small sample. And then rushing to a referendum, basically, and I believe that's 6 weeks from now. We've just gone through 4 referenda for the town, and they were not happy referendums. That was a real fight.
So we're hoping this one will be happier.
So, with proposing something that so few of the public had input in, if you're basing an answer on the community poll, it's a very small sample and may be very invalid once all those people get back from vacation and get into the routine of paying attention to stuff. I think a lot of people are, you kick back in your brain for this time of year.
Thank you very much. I will say we're discussing it tonight. We can potentially act on the project recommendation. But it's not just the results of this community polling, it's all the committee's work over the past 6-7 months. All of the information and the due diligence from our consultant team that is going to help inform this decision as well. So the committee will discuss that later, and that's one of our agenda items. So thank you for your comment. Sure.
Okay, number one, we had our last community conversation, which was just a few weeks ago, explained the 3 options in a lot of detail. So that was our opportunity. You said we should have had that conversation before we did. The second thing was that you'll notice that one of our days was Tuesday of one week, the other one was Sunday of the next week. We thought about people who would be on vacation. Most vacations go Saturday to Saturday, so we thought we'll catch one group on Tuesday and the other group on Sunday. So we did consider those.
Yeah, I mean, the community,
Yeah,
that's a
I've
good
been to
point.
prior meetings too,
Yeah,
and I've
community
been
engagement has
presentation.
ongoing for several months. But yes, we are also subject to a very busy town calendar, post-budget referendums as well, primary season, and we want to make sure that we're hitting all the legislative dots in the eye for the grant application, making sure all of the process is right to make sure that we're compliant with the future grant application. So,
Excuse me, and just one other thing, because there was discussion that when my kids were in school, there was the same facilities, and there was an enormous, almost double the student body. So space-wise, I mean, I found the school to be incredibly spacious. I mean, particularly in light of the
It's
enrollment.
the same size as the 2 schools are now.
that is a
Roughly, I mean, within a couple hundred square feet, maybe, I think, I don't have the numbers.
Maybe 1,000.
Same size as the 2 schools together combined,
important.
and we're combining the students together, so it's not much different.
And I'd also add that anybody wants to argue with Dr. Prouda's numbers, you take that up with him. He did a thorough statistical analysis of what we expect for increased sizes in our student body. And those numbers are accurate.
Are they on your website?
Yeah, it is up on the website. It's also a requirement of the grant application process to have an enrollment study done and to base the project design on enrollment projections. So thank you. I'm going to move on because there's plenty of hands online. I'll go back to the room, but we'll go online. Nicholas Keller, I think I saw you up there first. You can just identify yourself, please. All right, we're going to move on because he dropped off. Dee Dee Jones.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear him.
I'll let him go.
Okay.
I'll go after.
So,
All right, go ahead, Nick.
Nick Tella, Myrtle Road.
Thank you.
So, as far as home prices going up, with the new reval, it's definitely going to be a concern. Just looking at the MLS stats, our median increase is up about 40% in the last 5 years. So, we've gone 250,000 to 350,000 in home prices in Willington. And if anybody wants to challenge me, I can provide you with the official data from, if I can talk without interruption, I'd appreciate that. So it's gone 250,000 to 350,000, about 40% up. The school access is kind of funny. For 4 years, I've been asking for access, and Phil saying, "Oh, we don't trust the people." You know, him the person, I'm curious if he gets a background check every year. Can we trust him? Find that smoke and mirrors. So time limits. I see that you started off trying to silence Liliana. I looked at the agenda. There's no mention of 5 minutes, 3 minutes, or time limits for anybody. So I find that very interesting. I find that very interesting.
Ahead. So I would ask you to try to be concise because there are plenty of other people that want to talk.
Yeah. So it seems like you're violating FOIA there by just making up rules how you want to. So fair comparisons, still haven't seen it. I get it. You got an agenda. You only like your numbers. Liliana had great numbers. I was really impressed by her presentation and numbers. It's funny because you guys present numbers how you feel is favorable to this project, but somebody counters with accurate information using your own data. You guys get all annoyed and pissed off. Pretty funny. I've already written my concerns and complaints to DFAS, 2 different levels there, and currently writing to different Congress Joe Courtney's office about concern about the integrity of this commission and in possibly inflating numbers. I mean, look at this Dr. Whatever his name is, 520 when we have 380 people. So I've expressed my concerns of potentially.
We're not gonna defame or slander people either on
Listen, James. Listen, I know you want to silence people. This is why I don't even attend, because you silence people. This is what you do because you can't control the narrative. I get it. So
final thoughts, please, sir.
Yeah, final thoughts. Hopefully, this committee is not committing fraud, which who knows, on the heels of Costas, with James Marshall leading this. So, thank you.
Mr. Tell, those comments went to the attorney. Thank you.
That's perfectly fine. I said I hope they're not. So didn't claim that he was or wasn't. I just said.
Thank you very much.
Also, I would point out that the 30-minute limit for this present to speak is listed in the agenda.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If you can read, I don't know if you have glasses on, but if you can read, it's not.
I got it. So, we're done. Thank you. We're not back and forth any further with this kind.
Well, the agenda is right in the very beginning.
Me, so. I'm going to have to move on, Nick. I apologize. There are other people in the room.
Well, hey, smoke and mirrors, everybody. Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. I will say the information on the budget is publicly available. I can't, unfortunately, comment on people's interpretations of it, whether they're accurate or not. But what I can say is the information presented by this committee is a 9 point something million bond, depending on your project. And that information is out there. It's publicly transparent. There is nothing this committee has done in secret. There is nothing it is hiding. It is been as responsive as it can be with the community. Thank you. I hear your sides, but they are necessary as well. If you can do it briefly, because I do want to get this together.
Just say if someone does feel there's an inaccuracy or mathematical error in our data, please present your findings to the board
in writing, preferably
in writing, so that we can review them and update the data if we do find there's an error. Right?
They're right here. Numbers are right here.
Yeah,
they don't lie.
I know.
Okay.
And they're accurate.
No, they're not. Well, they're accurate,
They
but
are.
your interpretation is not accurate.
Again, I'm happy to work through it with you. If you'd like to come up after the meeting,
Please don't know. If you have anything inaccuracy, said please present your findings in writing to us.
I'm trying. I tried, and I was shut down.
In writing, please feel free, and we're happy to respond and get you the detail that you're looking for, as we say to everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And moving online, Dee Dee, thank you for being patient. Your turn, please.
Of course, no problem. First of all, I want to say, as an engaged community member who's been pretty late to this show, but following very closely since I did tune in, I thank you guys for being as honest and transparent as possible. I have had my own questions, which I have approached Bill with on multiple occasions, and I feel like I've gotten very good responses. And other people from all of the committees have made themselves available to me for any further questions, as they have made themselves for everybody else. I do want to say that the numbers have been out there for a while, and they have been continuously changing just as things get tied up in the process. So if you guys are following previous numbers, they are subject to change with updates, which have been given to us whenever the updates happen. I also wanted to say that I don't believe that this whole thing has been rushed because it has been plenty of months that you guys have been requesting community engagement, which is great. But when nobody's showing up to the meetings, it's only a handful of people. We really can't get the information out to everyone if there is no engagement. I also wanted to say that I want if you guys do get the numbers in writing, if you could also address the public with your explanation in writing so that we can follow up and read it. That would be greatly appreciated. I also noticed that Mike posted some FOIA stuff. I don't know if that's in the agenda today, but if it isn't, it would be great for you guys to touch on it. And that's about it. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work.
Thank you very much, Dee Dee. We're going to try to go around the rest of the digital room pretty quickly. Sarah, if you could identify yourself, please.
Sarah Smith, Eldridge Road. I just appreciate the volume of information, the scholarly research from every member on this committee, and the opportunity to go and tour the school. And when I came to the poll to put in my preferences, at no time did anyone try to influence me. And I think that everybody on this board has been very ethical, and that I appreciate, and I was able to make my decisions with a volume of up-to-date knowledge. And I wish that we could all, as a community, just try to be respectful to each other when we're speaking to each other. And if you have to resort to name calling or bullying techniques, I don't think that gives people confidence of the information. So thank you very much for all this committee has done.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Kathy Demers.
Kathy Demers, 48 Mason Road. I've been following what the school building committee has been doing, and went to the recent presentation that was at the library, going over all the 4 different options. And I thought that it was a wonderful presentation. The information's been online. There's been lots of opportunities for people to be engaged, ask questions, see the information. I think it's been all very transparent, very ethical. And I think you have all done a wonderful job of trying to put this out to people. And if people aren't engaged and come in at the last minute or just look at a social media feed to make a decision, that's very sad. So I'd encourage people to go online. School building committee information has been up and on there and available. And as other people have said, people on the board as well as the superintendent have been very open when people have specific questions. The polling was the same way. If people could not make the polling dates, they could still send an email to the school building committee via the online portal to make their preference known. So I think you have all done a wonderful job to do what had to be done so that people could, could weigh in. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you for the reminder. Yes, we did. The committee does have copies of the emails, including yours, that you sent in ahead of the phone bit. So thank you. I'm going to jump back to the room very quickly. Is there anybody left in the room? Peter
Willington, 97 Trask Road. I appreciate the committee releasing the cost data. I did locate that when I returned from vacation on Monday. I believe I found it to be posted on the 23rd of July. So thank you for showing the costing of all 4 projects. I, like many taxpayers, I'm focusing on the graph that shows the mill rate impact comparison. If you remember that bar graph,
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but I'll bring it up. So
But it essentially shows the mill rate impact every year, which is substantial. My first question is, there's a footnote that says for the mill rate impact per year, that it is by individual year, but not cumulative. So does that mean that as we go from year 1 to year 20 of the bond, that the compounding effect of those mill rate increases is that factored in or not factored in?
It is not compounded.
It is not. That's stunning. Okay, question 2.
Well, or maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but that's the, hold on, I'm bringing it up now, but we can talk about it directly.
While you're looking for that, at the beginning of the graph from 2018 to 2000, I'm sorry, from 2028 to 2031, we're showing no cost impact, but I don't see the bonding cost, the fees, and all of those costs. I believe they were excluded. Am I correct?
Yes, they are. Because they're preliminary, we'll have updated numbers before.
I also don't see any costs associated with the retirement of center school. Am I correct that that cost is not reflected in these tables?
Because that is not subject to a grant application. We have presented costs for that. It was in a presentation at the last community conversation for consideration by the community. That is something that the community is going to need to come to terms with over the next 4 or 5 years. Should a project pass, but we have time until center school is no longer used as school.
To kind of summarize, recognizing the limitations of time, has our Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance reviewed these cost tables and the impact of this taxation over this 20-year bonding period? 4 to 10 million, you're absolutely right in round numbers. Has that occurred? And has there been any kind of evaluation by them on our grand list being able to sustain this?
Yeah, we actually did meet with the Board of Finance a few weeks ago to discuss these preliminary numbers. They had just come out. At the time, I believe it was almost immediately following. And we will meet with you again over the next several weeks before we get to Board of Finance. Sorry, I'm talking to the Board of Finance chair who happens to be in the room. So yes, that is a part of the process. They are aware of the data, and we will have continuous conversations from now until our final. Just to go back on your that mill rate table, that's the impact of the project in any given year. So it's standalone. Each of them is standalone in the year. That's from today. So it's not going up cumulatively. That's the change from today.
But if there's an increase from year to year to year, there is a compounding effect, correct?
There is not. This is showing you the net change in any given year. So if it's if the increase is 1.26 mils in 1 year, it decreases the following year. So the increase compared to our current debt servicing.
Understand that. I just don't want to.
It's year by year. It's not compounded. It's not cumulative. It's a single. It's a
base value.
So, if we have questions about this data prepared by the UNESTAT, is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Is there a contact person there that we can reach out to?
I'm sure you can try, but I'm not. I'm sorry?
They may not discuss it.
They may not discuss it with you as work is ongoing with the committee, but we'll share that information. If you have any questions, I can try to get you answers directly from them.
Yeah,
Please, submit any questions you have.
If you need clarification or details, please contact us and we can try to get the information.
Absolutely.
But we have no direct access to the account.
You have direct access to the school building committee who can work with our consultants.
I'll leave that there.
Thank you.
I will end with a comment that I too am deeply concerned about this compressed schedule. This committee should not act and select a project tonight. That is the responsibility of the legislative body of this town. And our community should select the project as our Senator Gordon and Legislative Minuccio laid out at the beginning of this entire process. And I strongly urge you to move in that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. I will just say the responsibility of this committee to make a recommendation for a project Board of Selectmen and or Board of Finance to advance to. Good answer right around. So it is this committee's task to do that. We have endeavored for the last 6 months to provide opportunities for as much community feedback as possible, including this most recent pair of polling dates. And I thank everybody in this community for the engagement along the way. It's been really great all around. Sorry, Christina, I saw you in the room, and then I am going to try to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you all.
By yourself.
Oh, Christina Milo, Fall Hill Road. I am really glad that you've all been taking this seriously, that you've been moving so quickly. It's a really tough needle to thread between moving fast, but also being thorough and also being as transparent as you possibly can. And I think that this time around it's been a lot better, just trying to follow the process. I think some of the comments that I've heard, I think stem from the fact that none of these variables for any of these different projects, options, or any of the things that affect the mill rate exist in a vacuum. So it's hard to isolate one thing and say, okay, this is what it's going to be. Our property values are going to stay the same, or they're going to go up, or they're going to go down. These things change every year, and over 10 years, they really change. The number of students in the school change. When I went to high school myself, I think we had around 800 kids in the school system. My own kids had more than there are now, but it was a lot less than when I was there. But that doesn't mean things won't change in the future. We're trying to build a school that's going to last for, I think, for at least 50 years. So we have to plan ahead, not knowing what is actually ahead. But so, although I understand why the building, the school, the classrooms need to be at the size that they are, I understand all the things about that. But I think part of the problem is putting out information that the mill rate's going to be this, and making up. You're not making a promise. Other people are potentially saying that there's these promises being made. Anytime, and you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you don't say what you think the impact's going to be, then you'll be criticized for that. But it's a hard thing to understand and follow, and I think all we can all do is try. You all can try to explain it. We can all try to understand it, and but I think basic trust and respect for the people doing the work is, and that they're not trying to. I mean, I don't really know what people think the motivation would be to be doing anything nefarious, but I don't think that's what's going on, personally. So thank you all, and
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, so what I will say, Christina, is we can confidently predict the project budget, that we can, develop a project for it. We can understand the debt servicing factors that is based on the budget that we predict. And we can, confidently project what the mill rate impact would be in today's dollars. And that will be the impact of this project is the impact of this project. Other towns back, that's not going to change. Other town factors, budget increases, that's great. But if this project is going to offer us savings today, potentially, got to capitalize on those savings today. At least that's my opinion. So thank you. I'm going to go back online. Pamela.
Pamela Fontaine, 29 Lindsay Lane. I just want to take a moment to say that I appreciate all of the hours that you have invested in exploring all the different options that are available to our community. I have read the flyers. I have looked at the information online. I have asked questions, all of which have been promptly answered. So I just wanted to take a moment and say that I appreciate your dedication, your thoroughness, and I appreciate all the effort that you put through so I could properly understand all of the options that are available to our community.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else online or present to speak? In the room? Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for the comments and discussion. And of course, please do continue to submit, particularly anything that is heavily reliant upon data or numbers that we can respond directly to. Please submit that in email, and we're happy to continue to get answers to all the questions that we receive. All right, so moving right along, we're going to do the agenda. Chair report. I will just say, I'll be brief because I want to get into the new business, and just say thank you to all of the volunteers and all of the committee members and all the work by the superintendent and the first selectman in coordinating and arranging, and for the Tecton team in coordinating and helping us arrange what I consider a very successful community bowling event. And thank you very much to the community just for coming out and participating, being as engaged as you were in the discussions. I know I'm not alone, but I had numerous very engaged and very productive, constructive conversations with a variety of people, and the feedback was really welcome. So thank you very much, Willington, for coming out. And we'll just move right into it. What do you think? All right. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, I don't. All right. So community preference polling, new business 4A, results and discussions. So as I just said, we had a great 2 days over at Hall School Library. You guys have in front of you the summary, and I'll put it up on the screen in a second, the summary of the balloting that happened, as well as the 3 project boards that Tecton put together, which you've seen previously. I've also sent along last night, you scanned every ballot that had comments. There was something like 90 of them, I think, or 77, thank you. 77 ballots with comments. So you guys all have received those digitally. I didn't scan just the numeric bank because I wanted to get that information out to you. You also have the emails that we received from the community about the polling. There were 7. Thank you, everybody, for reaching out. Lisa, I'm going to request to share screen if I can find my Zoom. Yeah. So we had a total. Give me 1 second. Ah, there we go. All right. So without further ado, you can see my screen. So we had a total of 244 ballots cast over the 2 days. 241 of them were responsive. We had 3 that didn't make a project selection. Of the 3 options that were included in the poll, the 3 consolidated school options the committee developed, option A, the new school on the new parcels adjacent to the existing hall site, took 78% of the vote with 188 first choices.
Can I pause it for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Lisa, would you mind Xing out your participants, and would you mind grabbing the corner of that TV and pulling it to the folks in the room so they can see what we're talking about? I think it's important.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Just, yeah, it's okay, keep pulling. You won't
Check the wall.
Can I come out?
Yeah, there you go. Very good. That's perfect. There you go.
Yeah, so 244 ballots cast, 241 were responsive, 78% or 188 ballots ranked the new school on the River Road parcels, the new property adjacent to the whole school site is the #1 choice. The next choice was the addition and renovation option at Fall School. That took 15.4% of the vote for 37 ballots cast. That is #1. And option B, the new school on the existing Hall Memorial School site, came in third at 6.6% with 16 votes. I've also included, we did rank choice. I included the second choices under each of those options. As you can see, for the new school, new site option, 177 of 188 of the votes chose the new school on the whole site as their second choice. The new school on HMS site chose the new school on new site for the majority. 14 out of 16 votes was their second choice. And the addition renovation of Hall. Third. the addition renovation at Fall Memorial School was split between option A and option B a little bit more evenly. You'll also note some people only identified a first and second choice. Some identified only a first. So that's where the none comes in. If people only had one choice, they only ranked their top choice. Those ballots are counted as one. So there was, of the 244 people that came in, 241 ballots cast that identified an option. Option A was the favored at 78% of the total ballots.
And given that it was greater than 50%, there was no reason to exercise the ranked choice.
Yeah, we didn't.
We have one clear.
We had a clear decision. Ranked choice wouldn't have.
Yeah, wouldn't have changed it. Yeah.
But it is valid feedback. I think it is valid feedback having people's second choices as well and understanding what the priorities are. So it was a good call regardless. And it gave us the information to get that data as we work closer.
This will be on the website.
This will be on the website as before. Thank you.
Jim, what was this option C again? I couldn't.
Option C was, I will answer that quickly. Option C was the addition and renovation to the existing hall school building. So you guys, most of you were, and Phil, thank you for walking towards IT. You can go ahead. I mean, you want to provide some insight on your experience with all the tours?
Yeah, I think it was good for folks to see the building. We walked just a simple loop just to give a sense of the pros and cons of where that building's at, what's been repaired, what's in need of repair, and I think answer a lot of questions. And without giving away real specific security, which is something that I was concerned about. And so seeing a couple hallways was easy to do, and I think it was beneficial for people that walked. We gave a lot of tours for people that didn't even sign up. If they wanted to go, we just did it.
Yeah, you were walking up and down all day. It was good, and I'm glad. I think it was a good decision. It was good to give people that opportunity. I mean, we just had a lot of really good discussion in the room. Yeah, both days. Quite frankly, it was really good. So I think it was a very productive way of soliciting additional feedback from the community, and it allowed us to have dialogue, which is always welcome. So. Anybody have any questions, thoughts?
Yeah, any comments? We already read them all. Yeah, the email comments are great.
Even the comments on the ballots were, I mean,
yeah, that's what I meant on the ballots. Yeah,
yeah.
I read once they got emailed to me.
Yeah, I read every one of them.
Me too.
Yeah, and it seemed that there was definitely support for Hall. The main building seemed to be favored and people were.
Yeah, there was a good handful of
Can you just clarify that? Because we know what you mean, but I don't know that.
Yeah, so the people, there was in the comments, I noticed there was a specific interest in preserving the 1920s portion of the building by those that chose the hall as the first option, with the option C. So, and that again, the majority of the counter options were their second choice and third choice were obviously either the new site, the expanded site, or the new site, or the existing site of the new school. But the majority of the comments that I saw from people that did choose the hall one were interested in the original building. So
historic preservation.
Yeah, historic preservation. And even some that chose actually option A, they chose option A, they did voice that they would like to see some of this preserved as well. So that's just a thought I think for consideration. It seemed that
I agree.
Not only people that chose C, but some people that chose A also
made that comment.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why option B, because it was the only option where there really isn't any possibility of the tightness of the site of maintaining any semblance of the existing hall, the original hall school building. So, but yeah, the feedback was definitely there, and I think obviously option C does preserve that existing building with an addition. Option A affords opportunities to, because of the acreage, because the additional space sort of provides opportunity for the town and this committee to potentially provide opportunities for offering the town opportunities for maintaining that if it desires and if it can economically, if it's economically viable. So.
Jim, I'd like to throw in a couple comments too.
Please, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a lot of opportunities to interact with people who were in various levels of supportive, questioning, unsure, even kind of suspicious, as we've heard some of the comments tonight. And it was very good conversation, even with the people who had concerns, to have the ability to discuss it. And a lot of it in the end echoes what was just said, particularly that as we saw, a lot of people came in the room saying, well, I was really concerned about the cost last time we had a school building committee. And this seems to be a new conversation when it comes to cost. So that feedback was mostly on looking at option A because of the most positive or least negative cost impact situation, that it looked like the best path forward financially for Willington. And then you would get the added advantage of having the newest building, the most energy efficient building, the largest piece of property to be able to use fields properly. And certainly some of the comments were about the potential to save the original portion of Hall School. And there were also a few comments about the fact that option new site, new school, option A, was also the only one that would potentially get rid of the road crossing risks, because a lot of those people who came to the polling had to cross Route 32 from that parking lot to get in there. So I think those were all important points of feedback. So,
Thank you, Mike. I can't see the list online. Michelle, I think you're our only virtual attendee.
I'm sorry?
Michelle, I just wanted to offer you the opportunity. I can't see if you're raising your hand because we closed that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I've just been soaking it all in. I didn't really want to take time away from people that haven't had the opportunity to speak. But I think that, yeah, like people have mentioned, this committee has been incredibly thorough and has been working really diligently over the last 6 months or so. And it is really hard, balance to meet all the deadlines and that just come with life. And speaking as a licensed architect who has a lot of experience in historic renovations and all of that, I was really happy to actually see that the results came in with the favoring in a new school on a new site, because I understand the complexities of dealing with an existing building, especially an older one. So I was really excited to see that the town, so far seems to agree with that approach, because I think given the fact that money is tight and that we don't want, it to be a huge impact to the citizens, that doing something new on a new location is the safest route. So I hope that the people that are, opposed to it do take the time to, get I think it was I forget her name that mentioned that the information is live and ever changing. So, keep up with it, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see all of the information that comes in. And there was one other comment too that I wanted to address about the house value prices going up. And to be honest, that's not a Willington specific problem. That's just a New England problem. So I hope that we can kind of take those things out of consideration and focus on what's going on here and what our students need, and thinking about the growth and thinking about the spaces that they need, the safety, the health, all of it. So there's just so many layers to it. So it's been great to be a part of all of this, and I look forward to seeing it through.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Michelle provided a nice segue about budgets and you guys okay to move on to voting results?
Sure.
All right. So again, thank you everybody in the community for really being engaged at both events. It is appreciated as we hear thoughtful comments and thanks. And that's it. Okay, moving on. 4B, project budget updates. So in your packet, and I previewed this a little bit because the news was new at our last meeting. As of effective date of August 1st, the state has changed Willington's base reimbursement rate. And they've increased it an additional 1.25 points. Am I correct on that, Scott? Thank you. Which has a very notable impact on the budgets, particularly for the all of the new school project options. In that it reduces the share and the cost of town by over $1 million. It goes without geothermal, I believe. It increases our base rate for both of the new options to 94.58%. And we max out at 95% with the renovation option. So the renovation option for all option C and polling did not change from a budgetary perspective, but it did greatly reduce the town share, projected town share to under $9 million for either of the two new school.
You're saying option A or B?
Options A and B have both been reduced. The town share is down. Hold on, I have the exact number. I included the prior for you, so it's almost $1.2 million reduction in the estimated town share. That doesn't factor in geothermal yet. We will discuss that accordingly as part of the next item, but those numbers are significant. So it brings both those options down. So that is a very positive update. Another positive update. It reduces our further reduces that anticipated $9.5 or almost $110 million bonded project cost down to under $9 million, which is wonderful.
We're gonna rerun the bonding scenarios.
Yeah.
I guess.
When?
Yeah, I would be okay. When can we project that?
We'll ask them to run it on the selected option so that we get final data from the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance. We decided we have to get that this and recommend a private time. That we are aware of the schedule. The Board of Selectmen will meet. We have a milestone schedule. We'll go over that. But the Board of Selectmen meet today. If we were to make a recommendation, the Board of Finance meets that week as well, as is the H24 as well. So a lot happening over the next few weeks. And we will have that data obviously available to the Board of Finance prior and Board of Selectmen prior.
So I would say a lot of people looked at that last, I think it was on the postcard and it was on a poster, was that TechCon made. I think when we update the next numbers and it's around when it gets to whatever single option it is, it's going, if it's A or B, it's going to be important that we explain the why, what changed. It's just a bullet there. So it was this and now it's this. Why is that?
Yeah, and Scott, I mean, we'll state it now, but Scott, they update those rates on an annual basis. And we are fortunate that it was increased for Willington. They're 100 voter points, which is great. Yeah, we'll take it. All right. So, but these books, segueing right in. Scott Colliers, with Colliers did provide updated budgets that included with and without the cost of geothermal. You'll note there's roughly a $260,000 delta in town share for geothermal. And Jeff, I believe that like a less than 2-year buyback or payback. Yeah. With that recurring potential opportunity for operational savings, huge operational savings. So what I will say is geothermal will need to be vetted for any of it. It's available for any of the project options, but geothermal will need to be vetted as a part of any project development. What we're really talking about now is making sure that we decide on whether to include costs in the budget to be able to capitalize on it. Depending all as developed according to plan. The specifics and details of the system will be a very detailed part of the early design process. But yeah, that's why this budget data is important, just to get a sense of what the actual cost is and making the decision on whether to maintain that eligibility or that liability in the budget. Do it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, questions?
Are you saying we're not deciding on geothermal?
No, I think I think we need to, because it'll have to be a part of the budget, if we want to include it. So, if anybody has any questions, we obviously have our team in the room. But we've discussed it pretty extensively over the past several months now, and done a pretty deep dive, and thank you guys for comprehensiveness and providing that data.
Bill, did you have a chance to check with Mansfield to see how that's worked out?
I haven't talked to Candace yet, no.
Okay. Scott, do you know?
They're geothermal
How
nature.
has been working in Mansfield?
They have achieved net zero status, meaning they're producing as much energy as they've used over a single year.
Okay. And is everything working? They haven't had any problems with the equipment?
One of the developers, one of the contractors, GCs I work with did reach out because we're familiar with them and did note that they recently in the past year completed a project, I believe it was one of Collier's. I don't know whether you were on it, Scott, but and that they just got a $2.4 million, they just successfully got the $2.4 million rebate.
Grant. Yeah.
Grant. So those dollars are real. And those programs do work. It's great.
This is without the rebate, correct? Without the rebate.
We do not include rebates in our numbers because they're not guaranteed. So yeah, all of our calculations for cash flows do not include any potential rebates. That's just a further benefit to the community.
Yeah, so I think it could potentially be more attractive. We would obviously pursue.
If I remember correctly, the rebate on geothermals are about $800,000. Remember right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so
But it includes the reimbursement.
Yes.
Yeah, in our case, outside of the first.
Correct. I just want to make sure it's better. That's what.
Okay, so then rough math, we're 600 ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah, because that would be positive from when the system gets reimbursement after the system goes live, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but the rebates, if you get them, are likely a year after the other.
Okay, so we potentially have the 1 year of prior rebate. Okay.
But that'll be
I think the
reflected in-
energy cost savings alone is big enough to push forward with it, and especially given the concerns of a lot of the citizens in Willington. I think that's something that we really should urge to include in the project scope.
I think, well, like, so you're looking like a 1 year payback on a student paying account where it's, yeah,
If that, I think the opportunity just is to pursue the potential opportunity for budgetary savings for any of the projects. I think is, I think that from a budgetary perspective, I think my opinion is we need to do it.
Yeah.
Each of the
Well, just the
towns-
operating costs alone from the future, like just
From an operating cost, trying to keep the school budget low, having an efficient building, I think we owe the town to investigate that in the budget.
Absolutely.
We budget $100,000 for oil annually.
And that goes up by 4% a year.
Yeah,
If we're lucky.
yeah. In my business, if we had this kind of ROI,
We just built it already.
we would have done. So,
Yeah, that's the reimbursement you're talking about from the state. It's a no brainer.
I'm just going to acknowledge that both of them nodded yes. Sorry. Are we, my question is like, are we missing something? Because Adam just said it, the ROI is just unreal.
Shocking. Yeah.
you're not the reimbursement.
Right.
Yeah, so the reimbursement rate, right? And that's what is.
Yep.
Yeah, in terms of smart use of money, I think it's the potential cost savings to the town is tremendous. I think we should do it. With a caveat of we don't try to go net zero as a goal. per se.
That's not any aspect.
That I'm saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying we should try to consider that we don't try to make the system do something that it's not designed to, in an environment that's not designed to, that we would have. If we need to use resistive heating at certain times, we shouldn't push the system too hard. We should use resistive heating instead, so.
I had two questions. Number one was, we use excuse my ignorance, I do not know a lot about it, but we use electricity to flow the chemical through the geothermal, is that correct?
Yes, the antifreeze.
And is that a lot? Is that a lot of electricity that you need to use?
Typically in the geothermal system, for every kilowatt hour you put in, you can get back up to 6 kilowatt hours of heating or cooling energy, depending on your system.
Okay, so it's very efficient.
Very efficient.
Okay, my other question is, if things go wrong, do we have a backup system that will heat and cool? Adam, do you look like you might have an
Yes,
answer
so
for that?
that's what I was saying, that we have, cooling's a different story, but.
Why do we let it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I guess it's just that we didn't.
Go ahead,
No.
I'll-
That was my concern as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cooling, resistive heating isn't gonna help you, obviously. However, the heating side, what was your?
Yeah, usually we'll put in electric reheats or some kind of small condensing boiler if you wanted to do that just as a backup.
Same system.
Yeah, buildings these days with the energy codes, the building envelopes are much more insulated, so you don't lose heat as much as you used to in these older buildings.
And the load is reversed. In the summertime, when you're cooling 20 degrees. It might be 90 degrees outside, you're cooling down to 73. In the wintertime, it might be 20 degrees and you're heating up to 70. So the differential is much larger in the wintertime. There's much heavier lift there. And that's why we may need something to back up for heating during the wintertime.
And have we already incorporated that into our plan? That's
So the costing that was provided provides, a hybrid system for the backup, yes.
And I just think in our configuration of how we use the system, that we take into consideration the efficiency of the system, we don't stress it when in terms of its operation. I'm not saying they design it a certain way, but how we use it can also, I think that's a need to be consideration as well.
There have been reports of other schools using geothermal, that the geothermal system burned out. And the problem that they had there was that they didn't size it correctly. So they overtaxed their compressors and the compressors burned out. We need to avoid that, but forewarned is forearmed.
Yeah, and that's why that's why we solicit lots of professional assistance and coming upon this committee to, do that due diligence and that vetting as part of the design process as well. So I want to make sure that we're sticking to it. All right, so, I don't think we need a motion on that. I think we just need consensus across the board that we want to include geothermal in the project budgets for now, subject to. Yes, sure. Yes, I'm good. Yes. All right, we already heard Michelle's answer. All right, wonderful. So, fine, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for developing all that due diligence, guys, and answering all the questions along the way that we've had. It's an important discussion. Okay, so moving right. Any further comments, or was it going to be about the next up on the agenda is discussion or recommendation of a single consolidated school project option. Two referendums to the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance. So we have done a ton of work, guys, and I appreciate all your efforts over the last 6 or 7 months now. We've got a lot of information. It's really been about data reporting and data collection for us and getting information out of the community. Great. And we've got a lot of community feedback along the way with polling, obviously being just another iteration.
Lab test just exposed. Number one avocado oil.
The polling just being another iteration of that community feedback. So, I'll open it up to discussion, let you guys talk, and, if anybody has any thoughts on whether they're leaning on project options, how they feel about any of them.
I can go on option A. I think it's the best choice that the town has. It provides minimal disruption to the students that are currently in all middle school, considering that 6 years ago, everybody was disrupted by COVID. We don't need to put our kids through that again. The renovate to new or the renovation and addition option C would do that. It would impact our students. Some people might say, well, there was construction at my high school and it didn't affect me. So be it. The construction probably affected someone else. I really do think that keeping the option A, having that building as far away as it is from our existing schools and allowing us the opportunity to build over there without disrupting the kids is going to be the best thing for us.
And also that will take, A will take 2 years and C could have taken 4 years.
Exactly.
And that would have been 4 years of disruption for the children.
Right.
And wasn't that the same COVID class too, that's working their way up into the middle school?
At this point, yeah. Yeah, if they were in first grade, they're in seventh now.
Regarding who's going into seventh. Yeah.
Regardless whether it is at 4 years and entering fifth grader is going to be in that construction. The building
It's not good
construction for their
anyway.
entire year.
Yeah.
Nice, man. That is consideration. Any thoughts? Adam, you're staring at me.
I'm pretty savvy in construction. I've been doing it for 25 years and I've done probably $500 million of historical renovations. And what I can say is that during historical renovations, there's so many unforeseen conditions that will cripple a budget, cripple a schedule. And you will have change orders and after change orders after change orders. Structural engineers will have a field day in a historic building. A lot of hazardous material that we may know about now in a hazardous material report, but once you start opening up walls and chase walls and different parts of the building, you're going to find more and more hazardous material, which is going to delay your schedule and be a change order. So I've lived through it. I've spent countless 7-day work weeks away from my family doing it. And I can tell you that, again, historic renovations come out beautiful in the end, but they do cost a lot more money. That's unpredictable and they do affect your schedule. So that's all I have to say about it.
I agree with the Adam's comments. Logistically speaking, A or B is far superior. The fixed spot and point.
Yeah, option A also gives us the opportunity to perhaps save part of the all school building facade and turn it into office space or whatever we might be able to do there. Of course, that's up to the taxpayers if they want to foot the bill to actually renovate that building. But the option A does give us that option versus option B would require the destruction of all school, the demolition.
And are we possibly qualified for 50% for if we use the old building as administrative buildings or something?
It's subject to much further evaluation and due diligence and approval by the state and potentially special legislation, but it's not
It's a possibility.
Yeah, it would take a lot more due diligence by this committee to vet that, and it's definitely not guaranteed, but it is another option that we can consider as should that project advance.
And speaking of approval by the state, option C isn't even a guaranteed.
That is an excellent point.
Because we need a special waiver in order to do it.
It's true.
And we don't get the waiver until after the apply for the grant.
And we don't find out that they've rejected it for a year until we put the application in.
Yeah.
I mean, from my opinion, my perspective, this has always been about collecting the data and following the data as a committee. And I think we've done an excellent job compiling that. The reality, I mean, in my mind, this is not only, there's $100,000 delta between options A and B, a new site, and existing hall site. But it's essentially the cheapest cost in town. When all is said and done, it avoids all of the disruption that a phased renovation would be, and all of the potential complexities and disruption and unforeseen that while we can budget appropriately for it, there is still a risk. This has always been about finding the answers to the problems that prior committees didn't, or that were identified by the community.
Yeah.
Guaranteeing a reimbursement rate, understanding, minimizing the project budgets, et cetera, getting certainty on eligible square footage, et cetera. So all of those combined, as well as what, and I was there for pretty much all the fall days of polling. I mean, a lot of that feedback, a lot of that discussion, and the polling results kind of represented that there is more substantial support in the community for considering a new school with all of that data out there on the table. So I think this further supports that option in my mind. I don't think, I do want to be very sensitive. Personally, I think the town does need to very seriously consider what to do with 1920s fall. I think this committee, should we go that route, or in my mind, I think I would recommend option A for myself as my vote. But I think it would come with the stipulation that we need to be cognizant of really continuing that conversation with the town for potential opportunities to maintain existing 1920s building. But the critical component in my eyes is making sure that we capitalize on this reimbursement rate before it expires. Because it's that critical, and it's that once in a lifetime.
You'll never see it again.
So
I have one question in regards, if I may. If we were to, if there was some way that came up with that the existing 1920s building was to be saved, and at this point, we don't have funding or anything to do anything with it. So what would the reimbursement cover? Would it cover the demoing of the part of the school for where the fields are going to be? And would it cover the water tightness of the existing building that could be so-called mothballed until a later date when the town figured out what to do with it?
That's an interesting question. If you're using the area where the building is demolished for a field or for educational purposes, and you separate the remainder of the building off from a zoning standpoint as to a separate parcel, I think they can pay for the demolition to put that field in place. I can't speak to the standpoint of making the building watertight since it's not going to be used for educational purposes. If you put the central office there, you would qualify only for 50% of your base rate. So it'd be about 32% reimbursement. But again, my understanding is the existing building, original building, is about 24,000 square feet. Yeah, I don't know, might get.
Usable is like 19.
Okay, usable 19, that's significantly more space. It's probably as much space as you have in this entire building. So there's no way you can justify the current central office staff occupying 19,000 square feet. So the state would pay, best case, 32% of the cost of only the area that the central office would occupy. And again, if you decide to just carve it off and not put a field there, the state's not going to pay to demolish that building. If you demolish the building and put a field there, the state will pay for that demolition.
But they will not pay to watertight the building, so that would be.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it, because it would be for a future project.
And that's what I think is something that will have to be a town discussion and a town decision, and those costs will have to be kind of
borne by the taxpayers.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of that decision by the community, but if there's support, this committee, I think any school project we do would warrant exploring that and entertaining it. So, because I do think there's a good portion of the town that is community comprehensive.
The auditorium, there's one in the current budget. We did have that as part of the function of the building. Then potentially
you'd have to maintain that pay cost for it though, like to heat it and electricity. It doesn't.
I don't think it would be eligible as like. Well, I think we're going in the weeds that we don't need to.
I'm just saying, but
it could be used for town use, but I don't think it would be state reimbursement eligible. Because it would
use your educational program. Why not?
It's a half a mile away. It would be. You'd have to justify any of that.
From an operational standpoint, you make a point.
But if we do plays there, our concerts there, our plays there, things like that.
Parks and Recreation could use it as well.
Well, the town could make any use That would be, it would be a town facility essentially.
We would locate town hall there if we wanted to, even have to bite off the appetite for that. Yeah, to effectively pursue it, we would probably need to pursue special legislation.
Or the town would need to pursue ways of financing it or grants or whatever the case may be. But it's outside of this, it's really outside of the purview. We just want to make sure that we, in my eyes, I just want to make sure that we are sensitive and engaging in that conversation and if the town, if it's something the town decides to pursue. So,
Jeff, do you believe that if the 1923 section were saved, that you could still fit 3 fields in that location, baseball, softball, and soccer?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we could study it, but I believe so. Yeah.
I think that would come with a caveat that most likely the only parking for the existing building would be across the street. Right, because I did actually look at it because the baseball field is now, it's in that current location, you have to move the baseball field over. The additional parking also provided might be limited. But yeah, I'm not sure you'd have much of any parking for the original building, but it would need to be studied.
You would probably consolidate the parking adjacent to the building so you could maximize the building use.
And that's an option A. And option B, do you believe that it doesn't show it? We don't believe in option B that we can get all 3 fields on that location, correct? There's no additional land.
No.
So I'm saying, I know that, I'm saying it out loud because Jim said there's about $100,000 delta. And what I'm going to say is there's an operational cost to transport students from the middle schools to the town office building to play baseball and to practice for baseball. So that quickly adds up in those costs. You're spending that much money. The new on new takes care of that. And you will still be transporting the students to play baseball with a new on current site, which to me is a lot.
Sorry, can I just ask for some quiet in the room, please? It is a little distracting and I want to make sure. Elaine, excuse me, Elaine.
He's asking if that's the.
You can see if you're
Really, I don't
know.
know. I'm sitting right here.
I want to make sure the committee can discuss and hear. I'm hearing it.
Yeah, I just want to confirm. So option A, you believe that is, even if you say the 1923, there's sections, it's just moving parking. You may use the parking across the way. But I just got this one thing that I wanted to confirm because the town goes in that direction and spends that amount of money. You want to end any operational savings you can with the project. And that's another item.
Spend money to do something.
Right.
That's all right. Any other thoughts? And sorry, I have your volume of people on this list.
That we should add to our list of pros for A. That's a big pro for A, is that not enough field space. Option B.
She did earlier, but Michelle, I'll give you, if you have any further thoughts, you're welcome to join in.
No, I mean, I think that earlier someone had mentioned about the just if we were to pursue options B or C and the complications of the change orders and everything, and I second that wholeheartedly. Like I said, I have a lot of experience in historic renovations, and I think that given I'm a big fan of them, but this town and just honestly any school project, I think that's just not the right time or place for that kind of situation because of just the unforeseen conditions, all of that was mentioned. So I think going on a new site where we have a blank canvas will be a lot more successful for the budget, for the schedule, and also like people mentioned for the students. Like that's just a huge piece. Not disrupting their education experience is really critical. So.
All right. Well, I guess
I'll make a motion.
Go for it, John.
Okay, I move that the school building committee recommends option A for the single consolidated school project to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. I'm sorry.
Describe what option that is, Jeff.
Option A, new school on new site to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance as the single consolidated school project option to the referendum.
I'll second it.
I'll second that too.
Peter did.
Thank you.
All right. Additional discussion?
I just want to clarify, that's new construction on expanded HMS site.
The new project on River Road.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, just for the record.
It's something. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Lisa, I'm going to ask you for a roll call on this one, please.
Mrs. Alonis.
Yes.
Deha.
Yes.
Ms. Rega.
Yes.
Ms. Broshi.
Yes.
Mr. Bacon.
Yes.
Mr. Brewer.
Yes.
And Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
And motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much, everybody. With that said, the work continues. It only just gets started. Now the real work begins. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Moving right along. All business. Due diligence coordination, potential new site. Mike, are you still on?
Yes.
Did you purchase and sale agreement status? Can you just provide some update since we, as a committee, recommend that we pursue that the board of selectmen submitted at our last meeting?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm having a problem with my computer. Hang on just a second here. Can I?
No, I might have lost your mic. Yeah. Well, I'll sub in from what I do know from recent conversations with Mike yesterday. So,
yeah, can I just come back on in a minute? The computer keeps going out. I'll come back on in a minute. Go ahead.
I'll
Jim.
do my interim, Mike. Yeah, so from discussion with Mike, the board of selectmen did meet and discuss our recommendation to further negotiate and pursue purchase and sale agreement. And they did, and they came out of that with a motion to approve the purchase and sale agreement. I just don't know the status on whether it has been executed. They did identify some final corrections that I believe need to be addressed before it was signed. And they also recommended that they called the town meeting on that'll be this Wednesday, the 12th, at Old Town Hall, 7 p.m. One of the agenda items on that town meeting call was the authorization of funding from the school reserve fund for the $20,000 basically escrow earnest money deposit that is refundable to the project not passed, but that would be the good faith deposit, escrow deposit on the property to continue to hold it while further due diligence is done. I believe that's the update. If Mike comes in, we'll ask him. We'll have him flag any updates on whether it's actually been executed. But again, funding approval for that as a part of that process.
Wednesday night.
Is Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And yeah, I think it's definitely where it is for it. That you might.
I think I'm back. Sorry.
I just filled him in on the fact that the Board of Selectmen met, that we got a town meeting on Wednesday for funding. But I don't know where we stand on the actual status of the purchase and sale agreement execution.
Yeah, so I got communication this afternoon back from the seller, which I believe has the signed agreement in it. I got it after work hours, so I haven't been able to get back on a computer and read it all. But I believe we have it back. I'll know first thing in the morning. If it is complete and signed, I'll get it entered in to the town clerk right away, into the record. And I think that catches up with everything you just said, right?
I believe that was the last piece of the puzzle, yes. So, and you'll advise us and send copy.
Oh yeah.
Once you,
yep.
Yeah, public. So,
do we have a final purchase price, Mike?
The current price is the same as the asking price. just as, because we haven't completed due diligence. Just like with buying a house, if we encountered conditions during the due diligence that made us feel that we should renegotiate, then we would do that before actually executing like a closing or whatever.
And just for
So
clarity,
we do have multiple contingencies. It's very similar to a normal real estate contract that you and I would use for a house, but obviously a lot more lengthy, many more pages, and a lot more language to protect both sides, of course, particularly in this case, the taxpayers of Willington.
and just for clarity, that purchase price is the number that is essentially budgeted and captured in our budget for that new project option. So those costs, the site is eligible for reimbursement, and those costs are accounted for in our project budget. Thank you.
Yes, my understanding from Scott, as we've discussed this, as he captured the full price so that there would not be surprises that take us in a negative direction.
That's
worst case scenario, if you will.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. Thanks. Moving on, geotechnical investigation. Mike, you might I'm going to keep you talking, Mike, because I know you were on site with the team at Wealthy. Want to give a brief update, or do you want me to field and you can kind of...
Sure. So the initial site assessments were comprised of a mix of digging test pits similar to a perk test, to look at the soil layers and to then also consider if it, perkability, if you will, drainage ability. And the other major component was test borings done with a drilling rig. We don't have the report back from the drilling rig. There were various layers observed between sort of a topsoil type layer and then like a glacial till and somewhat of a gravel type layer. And then there were some places where a soft rock, hard surface, they have different terminology, refusal, where the drill had to actually drill through things at various depths. More to the east side of the property, more to the west side of the property was essentially clear drilling and clear digging. So that's sort of the initial feedback, but we're waiting for the official report from the geotechnical contractor that did the drilling and the observing and the samples and all that stuff. I believe that's but I guess the point was, because even though we don't have the report, we're of the understanding that there was nothing objectionable. And then later, when you do final design phases, you would potentially do a little more investigative work and final perk tests. I think I've summed that up.
If you had a chance to speak with geotechnical.
I spoke with Max. Yeah, they did 3 borings. He said he'd try to get the report together either later this week. So once we get that, it'll give us some more information. But he said it's good for building, it's for parking. Didn't speak to the septic side of the equation because that was another consultant. So, but we'll know more later this week. But I think Mike summed it up pretty well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Is it conducive to doing come
It's a good question. Typically what you do is you'll do, as you get closer, if that is an option, if the community supports the project, if that is an option from a building systems perspective, what you'll do is a test well, once you know where the building's placed and where the field might be, for thermal conductivity to see the efficiency of the well itself. And then you'll finalize your calculations on that. So it's not time yet for that piece, but there would be more testing involved.
Based on that finalization, we may do more or fewer wells.
Correct. Yeah. They test it. They drill it down. They plug it in. They test the conductivity, and that hones in on the number of wells that they'll need. So that's a little further down the road.
All right. Any other questions? We kind of touched on the next item, septic in there as well. So.
That's more work to do, I see.
Yeah, well, I mean, they went back in, yeah, I think.
I mean, is that what happened during the project this goes in? Does that happen in that phase?
Yeah, further to the west and to the south is where you would go. We were trying to be respectful, not.
I make clear.
I mean,
I got it.
Walking the site.
Yeah, he's trying to get to that one area with his trees or two down.
Typically, when you would go back out for design services, I would recommend including geotechnical investigation underneath the design team. So they own the geotech and those services. So when the building's sited, that would be part of their service.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Moving right along.
What's the question on the same line? How close would the building be to the?
We're past the point where we're having a present to speak. So I'll ask for reserve. You can please reach out and I'll ask you that
Okay, I'll ask you later.
Item 5A, oh, no, sorry, 5B, communications, community engagement. So with this polling date behind us, we have a September 2nd target for our next community conversation event, which we will certainly work with our team to prepare for. Obviously, the focus will be on providing as much clarity and detail about the recommended project option on the new school, new site, as possible. But I do think, we want to approach it from a perspective. I think it'll be a longer one than the last couple, in all likelihood. But I think we want to approach from the perspective of there will be people that are coming into it fresh and we can't make assumptions that all information is known. You know, I think there needs to be kind of a summary there. I think we'll need to touch on a summary, touch on all of the things, many of the things we've done on the past community conversations, us, you know, answer the questions again. Because I think any opportunity we can, but it'll be an opportunity for a robust dialogue. I am going to recommend because we should start thinking about coordinating location. I think something larger than the library is probably a good idea. Particularly based on, you know, experience from years ago. The whole school gym is probably an appropriate spot for that, just to accommodate school. Fun. In the evening, yeah, it should be fine. Yeah. And Phil, if you have an email, Phil, we had this has been discussed and it came up in community discussion previously, but providing opportunities for children engagement so that parents can have these things as well. So Phil had some good thoughts. And I heard from Rachel, the Park and Rec director, said she's doing how that could be. So I'll kind of let you take the lead on those ideas and kind of describe them.
Yeah, we're just trying to come up with a simple thing for any parents that want to attend. You know, we can throw on a movie and we have the band room that can be cleared, so it's right there. We could do pizza in the cafeteria if we wanted to. We have a couple options. She wants to do craft. We talked to. I reached out to 4-H just to see if they'd be available. One thing, and I think Mike said this, and it was a good thought, is that Rachel's crew, who's the director of Parks and Recreation, can manage the staffing. All of those people have had background checks and training and summer camp. And so that is the thought process behind it.
Offering opportunities for supervised
correct
play and opportunity for children to sit watching movies so the parents can go and engage as well.
And if she doesn't have enough or we need more, and we need to get school staff to keep and do that. I have after school staff that has also been background checked. So.
How do we feel about continuing to work that as an option?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it prevents disruption too.
Yeah, I agree. Anything I can afford opportunity for more people engaged, I think it's better. So we don't need to make any current decisions now, but we'll probably we only have one more meeting, I think, for that discussion. So, well, as a committee, we have lots of things. But we'll probably have authorization for probably some funding just to support that event and pizza for kids or whatever the case may be. We'll try to get more detail on that between now and 3 weeks from now, but we'll be very work planning for that. Any other thoughts on that?
We want to set a time. Or is it already on there?
I don't think we did. We'll work with, I want to make sure we have availability for everybody and availability. I believe the night is free from conflict. Yeah. But I want to make sure that we are planning it. So we'll work through that and we'll set that. That would be filled between now and our next meeting. 7 to 9. There you go. I wasn't sure whether we put it on there or not.
Yeah, September 2nd, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
7 till 9.
Says all Memorial School.
Great.
Beautiful. So
I'll probably do an RSVP just so we know we're planning for 10 children or.
Okay, so there'll be a lot more discussion about the planning and particulars of that at our next meeting in 2 weeks, unless we have reason to have a special meeting between now and then. But we will work through and we'll start coordinating the tech team. All right, future mailers. So this will be another critical one. What we did get quite a bit of feedback from the community that the mailers were great and was very much appreciated. And they appreciated the detail and thoughtfulness. Everybody, by and large, got them great. So we need to look ahead at continuing to do that, both in advance, perhaps in the September 2nd meeting, and then again, probably the town meeting with that advertising that we can deal with that next one. But I want to prepare. I want to get a mailer out there. Basically, once we have about the next week in developing revised project budgets to be updated information on this selected project. I think the focus of the next mailer needs to really be all about, that selected project option and pointing people towards the community conversation event. Time will be tight as always again with mailing schedules, so I think I will see what we can do. If our next meeting is on the 24th, what I'm going to suggest is we look at and we'll send stuff, what comments to you guys in the interim so that we can execute that. But I do think we should approve funding for that tonight, for the next mailer tonight, just so that we have the ability to act on it. I don't see us doing anything different than what we've done for the past in terms of printing and mailing.
I think we need to increase the quantity due to the local customer. If you have 2 people in an address, go to 2. So if we only have 3,000 addresses in 3,000 cards printed, if we have 3,000 addresses, we will be short because most addresses have at least 2 people, postal customers. So the post office is required to put 2 in their mailbox. So you'll be short. We need to do, I recommend we do twice the number of addresses at least.
So CPM generates those lists for us, or they have in the past. When Lisa Eaton had dealt with the first 3, I went out and did it all the first time myself. So this is my first time doing it every door now recently. It came bundled with all of the information for the post office, all set directly from them, with 3,000 providing extras that we have out on the table that we've been giving out. So I can talk to them and see, have a further detail about what addresses, if there's anything excluded, but they're hitting.
In order, because I work in this business some, they have to give it to every customer in there. So we have been going, some people not getting them, and I believe this is why. So.
Sure, have nothing to do with the U.S. Postal Service.
No, it's
not sure everybody in this room has had something this.
No, I've had some, but no, it's because of the local customer, the way that the permit is set up, they have to deliver.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the number that we've been printing is bundled with extra to the post office. So whatever that mailing address list is, and I can ask questions about what they have included for postal addresses, but it is making condos, it is making apartments, to my understanding, based on just feedback and discussion in the room, and during the polling about it. I think there are errors and omissions through every door direct now, but I'll ask that question as we pursue it.
Okay, but from my experience in the industry, you need, if you expect to have two people in an address, you need to have twice the number of cards as you do addresses. Or we'll be short.
So you're telling me that I should be getting one and my wife should be getting one?
Yes.
I don't want all that. I think
It doesn't matter. You're required by postal regulation to do this.
Okay.
I'm just saying, this is a requirement, so some people will get short. We want to get the information out there, we need to increase so that we have at least two per address.
Did we experience that?
Yes, several times.
No, not the shortage. Did you get two already?
I don't think so.
We got two.
I've never gotten.
I've gotten zero and I've gotten two.
But I know a family that has two and they got zero,
And that-
so.
Well, he's, I think that
Yeah.
he's trying that.
So,
I think you just have to find out.
Yeah, I'll ask the question. I mean, it's based on this. Yeah, if we need to get it out more, we can have more printed. Well,
that's what I think.
printing costs by government.
I don't know if that's gonna change anything though.
I'm not sure it will, but
That's
that's,
a
I don't,
postal service.
I'll ask those questions from both the print and and set that information with the quantity, because they're not their experience doing it. And ask them if there's a way of increasing opportunity for.
Technically, they're not supposed to bill us if they don't deliver to everybody, but.
Well, like I said, we're at the mercy of the system that does it. We're just.
Jim, ask him if the PO holders also get this,
They should,
because the
yes.
two people I'm thinking of may have a post office box, but they go away a lot. But
So,
Yes, we need, so I think we need funding for this, we need to increase it, so we have enough for the printing.
so the bulk of the costs for these has been postage, so I think we've typically done 1,200 if we increase. That all more than ever double the amount. And that should cover double the amount of rents. These. Otherwise, I'd be asking her to chime in on what she generated with her.
You can probably get that information by the work, right?
Yeah, I can get that tomorrow. I gotta talk about it.
We just need the motion to approve double the amount of money in case.
I don't know if we should do that, I think we should authorize the ability to fund the printing so that we can act between now and, if we need to act between now and our next meeting, get these out to people ahead of the September 2nd date.
you can say or up to that large.
Yeah, I think we've done a limit of up to $1,200 previously, and it's come in just over 1,000. So I think we did up to 1,500, it'll come in, even if we increase the quantity, it'll cover us for the mailing, and then. You know, we obviously only expend what the actual cost of it.
Are we going to include the public hearing and the referendum date in this also, just everything from here on out?
So I think we want to focus on the project details. And definitely the community conversation event on the 2nd, and I think we will probably have another one. That gets out with key dates, and
It just depends on design.
it depends on timing and design, but I think we can incorporate. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever fits on our standard card.
Okay, and
We can get a lot on it, but
the blackout time, will that interfere with another
Your
part?
the priority is now about the specific project.
yeah, getting
So the
details.
secondary one and around the
Come out loud,
the hearing and the referendum.
come out of town meeting, come out of public hearing, come out of referendum.
Then can we engage municipal staff in time to get data put on?
We have been in conversation with community staff, and they have something, but they know that Board of Selectmen will need it ahead of their times next week. We have promised to get them a solution, so that they can run them out of there.
Which we know in the turnaround, when we're expecting to get the data back from them, the usual.
We're asking for one option versus the detail on 4 now. And we already have cash flows from, I guess we put together cash flow service, so now that we have a selected option, we can set that. Confirm that information with them and get it out. But we have them, I will of them. Feedback tomorrow, that's saying. This is project options selected by the committee. Here's your timeline. It is. So I'll make a motion that we approve, we authorize up to $1,500 for the next round of mailings. Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Well, you jumped right at that. You want to do a roll call, Lisa? This was big, but
And Mr. Marshall,
yes.
Mr. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Ms. Rega,
Yes.
Mr. Tian,
Yes.
and Mr. Zelonis.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you, Lisa. So we will start to work on that and we'll probably send something out for your individual feedback between now and our next meeting. If it seems like we have consensus, we're not getting comments back from you individually, we can always wait and just be ready to hit print and go. And it'll just be a mad dash and driving down to New Haven. New Haven. It was a new something. Okay, we'll make it happen. Because that's what we need to do. There's the funds. Being debated on the 28th. That's the right time they're going to be getting a drop. I hope it's before that. I'm hoping we get that out before our next meeting, quite frankly, if we can do it. And if I got to call a special, I'll solicit you guys to call a special meeting and go over and finalize. But we'll make it happen. So just because I want to get financial information.
Yeah, as soon as possible, I think, we need to make a special representation.
Yeah. All right. Administrative items, moving along. Approval of minutes. We have two sets here. Does anybody want to make a motion for the first round, July 27th?
I'll move that we approve the minutes from July 26th.
Nope, what's that date?
27th. I move that we approve the minutes as written from July 22nd.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
I did not get a chance to read them. I was reading the comments from the poll, so I will abstain.
All right, hearing none. Why not? Let's just keep doing roll calls because Michelle's online.
You got it. Mr. Zelonis,
Abstain.
and Mr. Tian,
Yes.
Ms. Rega,
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Abstain.
Mr. Brewer,
Abstain.
and Mr. Marshall.
Yes. We got to that.
430. Motion
That's
passes.
So as a point, again, just reiterating the point, abstentions is fine. You are, even if you weren't at the meeting, you are able to approve minutes as long as you vote. And, or feel like you're caught up. But that's we're good. All right, moving on. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 30th, 2026.
I'll second.
Seconded by John. All right, any discussion?
I didn't get to read it again. I will abstain.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and flop through anyway. Any other discussion? Lisa?
Mr. Zelonis,
Abstain.
Mr. Tian,
Yes.
and Ms. Rega,
Yes.
and Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Abstain.
and Mr. Brewer,
Abstain.
Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
And motion passed 430.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, milestone schedule. All right. So, Scott, I'm gonna let you field this one. This is a start. I can give you a copy of that if you got it. What I will say, I just segue this is there was a in-depth discussion with Selectman Mike, Scott, bond counsel, Munistat, Sherry, business manager, thank you. just to make sure that the mechanics and logistics with our proposed referendum date, we're hitting all of the notice, we have the ability to hit all the noticing requirements, et cetera, for all of the many steps along the process. So, I think everything works out at last.
Yes.
At last, but if you want to just kind of.
Yeah, the last schedule,
needs.
yeah, the last schedule the committee has, I think, should be dated the 31st of July. I have been taking some notes, so very confirmation, because there is a meeting this Wednesday with the Board of Selectmen to approve the funding for the land purchase agreement.
That's a town meeting.
Oh, town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually have town meeting. Thank you. So I will get that on for record onto this, as well as firming up the location and time for the community discussions on the 2nd. But yes, in essence, we worked our way backwards with the group that Jim outlined from the anticipated referendum date of September 29th. So moving forward, the next really critical dates is going to be the 12th. Monday, August 17th, at the Board of Selectmen meeting, regular meeting, we're going to review the recommendation from this committee. Respond to final questions, review the draft, and call the public hearing, as well as moving the project now that land appropriation is on to the 824 referral for planning and zoning. Again, that is not a planning and zoning approval. And 824 strictly just says, does the acquisition of this land make sense for the future development of the community? That's all it is.
We did reach out to our zoning agent, Mike D'Amato. They have a very busy agenda on that evening, but we are on it for whatever that date is. The
18th.
We're slated to be on their agenda for the 18th for that 824 referral discussion. And we'll coordinate the final details, but that is teed up according to schedule. So
yeah, we can discuss that at our next working group. Really after that, again, we've talked about it following Monday, August 24th will be the next regularly scheduled SBC meeting. That'll be the final meeting before the September 2nd public community discussion. The public hearing right now is scheduled for Tuesday, September 8th.
You missed the Board of Finance on the 20th.
I'm sorry?
Board of Finance.
I'm sorry, yes, I did. I'm sorry. I missed the Board of Finance meeting on August 20th. And the SBC will be there in person along with the design and the colliers to respond to any questions that the Board of Finance may have at that meeting. Apologize for that. September 9th, published notice of town meeting for the referendum. There will be a special town meeting scheduled for Tuesday, September 15th. That town meeting will move to vote to move to the referendum on the September 29th, and that would be the date the blackout period starts. So if there is any flyers issued after that point, it would be strictly informational, assuming just here's the date, please come out and vote. But no other information promoting the project can be put out after that date. Again, with the hopefully a successful referendum on the 29th, soon thereafter, long range as far as the macro schedule goes, the committee would look to then put an RFP back out for OPM services, design services by statute, because now the project is defined. We would need to go out and get those services. As soon as those consultants were on board, then you would file your final grant application. It has to get in before June 30th of 2027. So I would have that team finalize the grant application. You've got the majority of the information already created. And again, as soon as the referendum passes, any expense associated with the project after that can be submitted to the state for reimbursement.
Excellent. Jim, can I make a suggestion? I'm just looking at the timing that where the town meeting is. And that last school building committee regular meeting on August 24th. As the next flyer is being developed, I think we should be developing at the same exact time the last flyer. Because of that regular meeting, we're not gonna wanna wait a week and get feedback on design. We wanna make sure it's printed, we get it out in time, so it's out before that 15th.
Yes, before the blackout.
Yeah, so I'm just,
Whether or not, yes, so we gotta work through the timing a little bit, it'll be soon after.
Yeah.
I wanna make sure we get one out as soon as possible on project.
Agreed.
And then I think soon after, if we're not
Just be ready.
following that community conversation event, we have the next one teed up and ready to.
yeah, it'd be nice to approve it at the regular meeting on the 24th, so then
Yeah.
it goes to printing and it's
Possibly.
Yeah, it's on the 14th.
If not, we will call a regional special or something if we need to, just for a dedicated purpose, but yes, I think if we can try to generate those, we can. Good point. All right. Any questions about that? Got heard? Thank you, Scott, for tracking the chaos. Do I have Mike? Are you still on the line without computer issues?
Yes, I am.
Any update on contract status? Next item on our agenda.
Which contract are we talking about?
Tecton specifically.
I think it was long signed and out of my hands. I'll check tomorrow. I think it's long gone from me.
Okay. I just want to get this off of our.
What's the final advice here? It's time for a signed contract.
I agree. No, I think I know Mike had executed it, with the lawyers, but yes. Yeah, you should have that. If you don't, follow up with me and we'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, and I will check in the morning myself.
Okay. I would assume email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Contract status and approvals. We did that, sorry, SBC financial report, you guys have the latest and greatest. It does include the invoices that we're going to approve on here just so that you have it. So we are running basically where we were last time. What I will say is the encumbrance for the mailer, the last mailer, at $2,000, we didn't spend anywhere near that. It was similar to what we did previously. So both the credit card statement's not out yet, so it's still in encumbrance. It'll grow down. That'll be not 2,000, but 1,000, give or take. Because it'll be similar to the other, posted stamps for mailer number 3. It's essentially the same. And I don't believe there's anything else on here that has not been captured. So we are still running with a balance of about $24,000. Still better than one covers one. It should get us. All right. So with that in hand, we have 2 invoices to approve that are captured in here as I said. We have one from Colliers Project Leaders for professional services through 7/31, and a similar invoice separately from Tecton for services through the end of July. We should probably tackle one at a time for safety, but does anybody? I'll start with Colliers. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the invoice number 000120234 from Colliers Project Leaders for professional services rendered through 7/31/2026 in the amount of $6,410.96.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Adam. Anybody have any discussion on that? Question? Lisa, can you run us off a roll call, please?
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Bacon?
Yes.
And Ms. Roshan?
Yes.
Ms. Rego?
Yes.
Mr. Tehan?
Yes.
Mrs. Lonis?
Yes.
And that's unanimous.
All right. Everyone want to take a stab at that, comes, please?
I'll do it.
Thanks, John.
I move that we pay invoice number 49226 dated July 31st, 2026 from Tectonic Architects in the amount of $8,699.89.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Please, the last time.
Mr. Lonis?
Yes.
Mr. Tehan?
Yes.
Ms. Rego?
Yes.
Ms. Roshan?
Yes.
Mr. Bacon?
Yes.
Mr. Brewer?
Yes.
And Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
And that is unanimous.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, and thank you all for both your patience and your services. All right. That is the end of our agenda for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for keeping it effective and efficient, and all of your hard work along the way. This is a big one for us, so I appreciate it. We got a lot of work over the next few weeks, so
Yeah, here we go.
get your hand faces on. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Who wants it? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned at 9:09
Thank you.
p.m.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Michelle.
Have a good one.